Okay, so in this video, I am going to review finding vertex given a quadratic function in standard form. So the method to do this is completing the square to rewrite the equation in vertex form, which is also known as graphing form. And what that looks like is this one, a times x minus a squared plus k. We're going to make our equation look like this by completing the square. So I reviewed this in class, but I'm going to show you the steps. So first thing is I'm going to write the equation as y equals that. First step is to move the constant. So I'm going to subtract 4 both sides. And then in order to be able to complete the square, you're going to have to make this value a 1. Right now it's a 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide everything by 2, but whatever you do on one side, you have to do it to both sides. So I'm going to divide everything by 2, which means now you have this. Okay. And the next step is to complete the square. We're going to have to add squares both sides. So I'm going to make a box. We're going to put square. We're going to add squares to both sides of the equation. And that's what we mean by completing the square. You add the squares and make this a perfect square. Okay. So then what do we add here? We add whatever is the half of that number is. So it doesn't matter whether you think of it as -3/2 or +3/2. But if I see it as -3/2, half of -3/2, which is -3/2 divided by 2, is same thing as -3/2 times 1/2, which makes it -3/4. We're going to add -3/4 squares to both sides. Okay, so again, you just divide this number, which is -3/2, by 2, and you're going to add that number squares. So here's what we have after that step. -3/4 squared is +9/16. So I got +9/16 to both sides. Okay, and the next step is to rewrite this. Okay, this whole thing, we want to write it in factor form, the squared form, the big parenthesis with exponent 2. We're going to write it in factor form. The left side looks the same. To do that, how do we factor this so quickly? Here's a shortcut. You just put x as a first one, okay, because you're starting with x squared. You just put x in there because that's the variable. And you just take half of this number, which is same thing as this number right here, -3/4. We already found that. So we just write that number here, -3/4, which is, again, half of -3/2. We're almost done. We want our equation to be a y equal. That's what we want. So we got to solve for a y. And to solve for y, I'm going to now move the constant, which means I'm going to subtract 9/16 to both sides. I'm trying to isolate the y here. Okay. And then I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. So I'm going to have to multiply this by 2 and this by 2. Everything by 2. Okay, I know some people like to just put big parentheses with 2 in front of it. But if you prefer, you can just remind yourself, okay, I need to multiply 2 here and multiply 2 here. So then I end up with y minus 4 equals 2 times x minus 3/4 squared. And then 9/16 times 2 is same thing as over 1. So that becomes 18/16, but that simplifies to 9/8. You reduce it by 2, divide by 2. So this becomes 9/8. It's -9/8. Again, 9/16 times 2 is 9/8. Okay. So then continuing with this, we're on the last step here. Add that constant 4 to both sides. So y equals 2 times x minus 3 over 4 squared, negative 9 over 8 plus 4. But 4 can be written as 4 over 1 by multiplying by 8 both sides. You make the denominators the same. So technically, this is negative 9 over 8 plus 32 over 8. And I'm sorry, I'm running out of space here. Okay, so then y equals 2 times x minus 3 over 4 squared plus 23 over 8. That is the vertex form equation, which helps us identify the vertex, which is this number, positive 3 over 4, and then that number, positive 23 over 8. There is your vertex. Okay, so feel free to review these notes or try this one more time without looking at the notes and practice. Thank you.